Virginia's governor just signed a law that makes your vote for president irrelevant, and almost nobody is talking about it. On April 13th, Governor Spanberger quietly signed HB 965, a bill that joins Virginia to something called the National Popular Vote Interstate Compact. Here's what that actually means. If Virginia votes one way for president, but the rest of the country goes the other direction, Virginia's electoral votes go with the country, not with who you voted for. Now, the framing they're selling is every vote matters equally, which sounds great, but here's what they're not telling you. The Electoral College wasn't broken, it was designed specifically to make sure that rural states, small states, and communities outside of major cities still had a voice in who becomes president. Under this compact, presidential campaigns would have zero reason to care about Virginia outside of Richmond and Northern Virginia. I mean, why would they? You just hand your votes to wherever New York and California go. Some legal scholars have argued the framers of the Constitution explicitly rejected the idea of popular elections for president, and that changing the system requires a constitutional amendment, not a state-level workaround. And here's the part that should bother everyone regardless of party. As of March 2026, every single governor who has signed this compact into law has been a Democrat, not one Republican. This wasn't bipartisan reform, this was a party using a legislative shortcut to restructure how presidents get elected without touching the Constitution. We are a republic, not a pure democracy. That distinction matters because pure democracies let 51% of the country permanently ignore the other 49%. Virginia just took a step toward erasing its own voice in national elections, and they did it while nobody was watching.
Yeah, so we have a story out of Virginia with, good old Abigail Spanberger. Yeah, the moderate Democrat that isn't so moderate. Oh, my goodness. The one that, anyway, she just signed a bill that basically ensures that your vote really doesn't matter in Virginia. It doesn't. Crazy stuff, man. Just when you thought the Democrats couldn't go any further, they prove once again that they sure as hell can. Right? They sure can. If you can't win fair and square, we gotta cheat. That's the Democrat motto. Goodness gracious, you can't make this stuff up, man.
One of the most important videos I've ever made in this channel, because what's happening right now here in the US could change our entire system and the way we elect a president. So we know Democrats don't have strong chances to win the presidency, at least not in a near future. So what do? Do they find better candidates? Do they stop acting like lunatics? They improve their policies? No, of course not. They try to change an entire system. They try to cheat, which is what they do best. Let's talk about the bill that was signed today in Virginia, Bill HB 965, which basically puts them in what's called the National Popular Vote Interstate Compact. So why should you care? Why does this matter? What does this bill actually do? So right now, your vote stays in your state, right? If the majority of people, for example, in Virginia, votes for a Republican candidate, that candidate is going to get all the electoral votes from Virginia. With this bill, what happens is that the state of Virginia can say, I don't care who my people voted for. I am going to give all of my electoral votes to the candidate the majority of the country voted for. So they can completely ignore their votes and just give it to a different candidate, which is insane. Now, the worst part of it is that Virginia is not the first state to sign this bill. We have 18 other states who are already part of it, all run by Democrats. And that's why I'm pointing fingers here, because they're the ones trying to change the game and how things work here in the United States when it comes to elections. They already have 222 electoral votes. If they get to 270, that's it. It's game over. The Electoral College will exist on paper only. Elections will become pure majority rule. 51% decides everything, 49% decides nothing. That's why Americans have been trying to explain to people that we are not a democracy. A democracy is always one step away from tyranny. If they get to do this, we're going to have no balance, no local representation, no protection for minority voices. That is not the system the United States was built on. So whether you're leaning left or right, you should at least understand what these changes are before it's too late for us to have a say in it.
You know, I love how people are bringing up the fact that we're not a democracy, purely a democracy, right? Because that has been, and you see this with the left, right? They pick a certain tagline and they just say it over and over and over and over again until it starts to stick in people's minds, like democracy, right? They've repeated that line or that word so many times that now people genuinely believe it, that we just live in a pure democracy. In reality, we live in a constitutional republic. But if you ask just any random person on the left, I guarantee you that they'll say a democracy. Oh, democracy. Really? Okay. Recite the Pledge of Allegiance. Just recite it. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic. What did you just say? To the republic for which it stands? Not into the democracy for which it stands. Oh man, and then you see it in their eyes, like, Democrats didn't tell me what to say now. They haven't brainwashed me enough to know what to say to that one. Crazy, man.
There's a potential shift in how America elects its president. The Commonwealth has joined a growing push to award electoral votes based on the national popular vote. ABC 13's Rachel Branding joins us now live from the Lynchburg Registrar's office tonight with a look at what this means for you and your vote.
Pat, with Governor Spanberger's signing, Virginia is now the 18th state, plus Washington, D.C., to join the National Popular Vote Compact. That push is gaining some major momentum, and it's getting closer to a tipping point, but not without serious debate. Virginia's entrance into the agreement brings the total electoral votes to 222.
Every state that says yes, that means we're closer to that magic 270 votes that it takes to win the presidency.
The compact would award a state's electoral votes to the candidate who wins the national popular vote, no matter how that candidate performed in the state itself.
Depending upon the state you live in, your vote does count differently.
Right now, Virginia's 13 electoral votes go to the candidate who wins the state. This plan would shift that power to the national stage.
Are there any concerns of it diluting Virginia voters?
I think not. I generally think the president should be the person that wins the popular vote. And the framers of the Constitution established the Electoral College, which allocates a certain number of electors to each state. But they didn't put in the Constitution how states should decide how those electors cast their ballots.
Though some say the plan could clash with the Constitution.
As long as we have it in the Constitution that there's an Electoral College, we really should be following that procedure. I think to try to change it by sort of pretending it doesn't exist is not really the right way to go about it.
I took that to former U.S. Attorney for the Western District, John Fishwick.
How does this work constitutionally?
I think it would be subject to a serious constitutional challenge. I think this National Popular Vote Compact, what really is inconsistent with the United States Constitution, which says, each state will elect electors according basically to the voted within that state.
With states taking different approaches, he says that could create real problems.
I don't think you can have that sort of inconsistency picking a president of the United States.
The compact only goes into effect if it reaches 270 electoral votes, with Virginia now on board. Supporters say momentum is growing, but opponents say that a court challenge could ultimately decide its future.
Crazy, crazy stuff. I want to go back to that map that they had up there. Where was it? Did I pass it? No. It was towards the beginning, wasn't it? Ah, there it is. So there's the map. Yeah. Those are all the states that want to try to subvert the election because Democrats can never win fair and square. They accuse us of cheating. in trying to do anything and everything possible to end all elections. Y'all remember before Trump was elected, there will never be another election if Trump is elected, blah, 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 blah. And yet you have Democrats doing stuff like this. Crazy. Which virtually makes it pointless to even vote in these states. Like, what is the point? If they can just decide, you know what? Nope. All of our votes are going to go for this individual. And you know what's funny about this? Trump just won the popular vote. So I wonder, well, we all know, if they would actually honor this if a Republican like Trump actually won the popular vote. I guarantee you all of that talk would go right out the window. Would go right out the window. But anyway. Yeah. Democrats trying to cheat once again. What do you know? Are you surprised? If you needed another reason to ensure that you didn't let Democrats win, you got out and voted, there's another reason. There's another reason why. Goodness gracious. 18 states. 18. Y'all get in the comments. Let me know your thoughts and your opinions. I think this should be taken up by the Supreme Court. And the Supreme Court hopefully will strike it down. Okay? And get rid of this nonsense. But what do y'all think? Let me know. Stay safe out there. Peace and love. I'm out.